Hey, it's MC here. All things chess records and a lot more on this podcast coming up. Another lucky break in my life. Harry Goodman was the original upright bass player with the Benny Goodman Trio with Lionel Hampton, Gene Krupa on drum, one of the most famous early jazz bands in the world ever. So Harry became my advisor and sidekick, and I went around the world first class with Harry. We did have to share the same hotel room, which was a drag because he was a classy alcoholic who got drunk every night and sobered up every morning with a quadruple Alka-Seltzer and an hour shower with steam. And he would walk out, "Hey, baby." 2 hours later, he'd have his first drink at lunch. It was amazing. And he was a happy alcoholic. And I stayed friends with him till he was in his 90s in the south of France. So Harry took me around the world. I'm talking about twice to Europe and twice to Asia, to Japan, to Tokyo, which was amazing. That was my story. Then I went out on my own. And the first deal I made was with an English label called Pi Records, one of the first independent record labels in England. The second was with Barclay, run by a band leader in France named Eddie Barclay. One by one, I made new deals for the distribution of chess. Then a new kind of convention of worldwide music publishers and record labels was formed every year in the south of France called MIDEM, M-I-D-E-M. And I went to the first MIDEM with Harry Goodman, and at that time you had to wear a tuxedo to go to the music concerts in the gala. And, it was really a very classy, special event. It evolved into a major worldwide music sort of conference that doesn't exist anymore, but it had a long run. Anyway, at MIDEM, I decided it's time to meet people from other countries. Yes, I'd made deals for France, Germany, Deutsche Grammophon, Pi in England, Sonet, which was an independent. I liked independence like chess was. Sonet in Scandinavia, etc. But outside of Europe, it was difficult, and it was a small market. But there were companies that were interested in chess records, and one of them was a record label in South Africa called Gallo Records. And I immediately hit it off with the guy, the president of Gallo, who I met at MIDEM, and he knew who Chess Records was, and he said, "Yes, there's a market. I can import some of your chess albums, and there is a market for that in South Africa, and maybe we can do business. Let's do business." So I said, okay. By that time in my own career as a record producer, music lover, I must have had 1,000 vinyl LP collection. And I said, I want to be on your mailing list. So every foreign label that I made a deal with, I got on their mailing list. And I got on Gallo's mailing list. And I soon began to get African vinyl. I don't know if it was labels they distributed. Maybe I'll go look in some of these boxes I still have and come back with a little addendum to this. But I got all these albums. The thing is, I was driving back and forth to New York all the time from my home. The cassette had been invented then, and it was very popular. And it was the first time music was super portable. So I immediately had the right equipment, being in the music producer, and I started copying these African albums onto cassettes that I would use for my rides back and forth. It's a 2-hour ride to New York, back and forth. I play a couple cassettes per ride. And at that time, I had produced the record. I was still an independent producer. I produced the record that I sold to an English label called Chiswick. It was called Wild in the Streets by a group called the Pinups, an early punk rock group from New York. That was really great, but then the two punk girls hated the two Jewish guys. They broke up, and I replaced them with two girls. It never really had the magic, but I put out that record by a group called the Pinups on the Chiswick record label in the UK. One of the members of the group was a guy named Norman. Norman, as well as being in this punk rock group, worked at the best record shop in New York City, where they had music from all over the world. It was a Soho record shop for vinyl. And Norman's close girlfriend and best friend, lover, whatever she was, worked for Paul Simon, or was somehow related to a daily activity being with Paul Simon. I didn't know anything about that. But Norman heard my African cassettes and thought he'd like to listen to them. Unbeknownst to me, Norman gave them to this girl, his girlfriend, who played them for Paul Simon, who immediately made copies, I guess. And that was his first taste of that kind of South African music that inspired him. I think it inspired him to shortly then go to South Africa, to listen to it and get more immersed in it. He heard something in that cassette of various Gallo records that I sent him. He heard a groove that clicked with him. And he went to South Africa and immersed himself more and ended up making that amazing album. So I was shocked myself when lately Norman, the same Norman, who's still my acquaintance, called me up and said, "You won't believe this. Some guy's writing another biography. A well-known author was writing another biography on Paul Simon, another one. Just called me, and he had heard about the African tape and asked me. And that's why I remembered, because Norman asked me to verify the chain of events. But that's how it worked. So thanks to those early Gallo records and the cassettes I made to ease my ride, my travels back and forth, Graceland was inspired. Let's say that. Funny enough, a memory that's come up right now, man, stream of consciousness, you're going to observe it. When I was running Chess Records, Paul Simon and Garfunkel called me in LA and asked me to bring them gospel records, Chess Gospel, which I delivered to their house where they were writing together. Soon after that was Bridge Over Troubled Water, another inspiration that had my breath on it, man. I'm telling you, another one that just came to me now. I remember taking that package to that house in Beverly Hills. And please verify that with Paul Simon and Garfunkel if you don't believe me. Have a great day. Another weird, twisted tale from my life. I'll tell you about Otis Redding sitting in my motel room in Memphis. That's another good one coming up. Keep checking the channel for more of this kind of stuff. You can't get it anywhere else. And I'm 83, man. Yeah, you might not be getting it for too much longer. Adios, amigos.